What's going on, guys? Killer6 back with my look at the brand new skill tree for MOZE, and this one's actually pretty good. And you're gonna probably hear some people today tell you that they think that Iron Cub is weak, but I'm gonna show you some cool stuff about Iron Cub. Now, by the description, Iron Cub is supposed to be weaker than Iron Bear. It actually says on here, skills that affect Iron Bear affect Iron Cub. Iron Cub still uses fuel but uses less of it and deals less damage because it's smaller. So don't summon Iron Cub thinking it's going to run around the battlefield being like the huge ass Iron Bear just destroying everything in sight. That's not really what it's for. What it is for is to stay out as long as possible, and by doing so it's going to make MOZE even stronger than she already was, and we're going to get into that in a moment. First and foremost, let me tell you guys about Mayhem 11. I am on Mayhem 11 right now, and there has been some confusion about Mayhem 11. I just want to clear the air just in case you guys didn't see my Zane build earlier today. Basically, it works like this. Mayhem 11 is a new option. It does not render your Mayhem 10 items obsolete. Everything that you've got that's Mayhem 10 is still fine, because you know what? Mayhem 11 is literally identical to Mayhem 10. Mayhem 11 just removes the Mayhem modifiers. The only other difference is that your Iridium and your money drops are going to be less. You're going to get less XP, which shouldn't matter at Mayhem 11, and you're going to get less world drop legendaries. And frankly, there's so many of them, it's not going to matter. It really isn't. You're still going to get a ton of legendaries out in the wild like crazy, and it's definitely going to be more than what we're used to from Borderlands 2 for sure. So Mayhem 11 is awesome. I have no intention of ever going back to Mayhem 10 or below. And again, all of your gear is still good. You don't have to go refarm anything at all. Cool. So we got that out of the way. Let's talk about the tree now. That's what you guys are here for. So the skill is called Iron Cub. As you guys have seen here, MOZE summons the Iron Cub in place of Iron Bear. Iron Cub equips 2 of whatever weapon is equipped in the remaining action skill slot. As you can see here, I've got a gun equipped from my green tree, and we'll cover that here in a moment. While deployed, Iron Cub follows MOZE and will target and attack enemies for the duration. Skills that affect Iron Bear also affect Iron Cub, and Iron Cub still uses fuel but less of it and deals less damage because it's smaller. So that's kind of like what we said earlier. When you summon Iron Bear, it's not going to go around the battlefield just nuking everything the way Iron Bear itself did. But again, I'm going to show you guys how to best utilize Iron Cub in its current state. Now, there is a possibility that Gearbox might buff Iron Cub before then. It is a little bit on the weak side, but again, I'm going to show you guys what makes it so good here in a second. All right, so first skill up is Biofuel. Whenever MOZE or Iron Bear ignites an enemy, they both regenerate health for a short time. Current effect is 3.5 per second. That's with 5 points in that tree. And this is really cool because whenever you are setting things on fire, you're regenerating health. So no longer do you need to put on a Sapper class mod. You can just have this skill and you're going to regenerate health just by setting things on fire. Up next is Big Surplus. While MOZE's action skill is cooling down, she deals bonus incendiary damage. Next skill, Really Big Guns. Iron Bear gains increased damage. Now you can use this, and you can use all the skills in this tree without even using Iron Cub. You can use these skills and still rock your traditional Iron Bear build if you want to. You can still hop into Iron Bear, use Daka Bear, all that stuff, but there's some cool skills in this tree that might make you want to do that. So just want to point that out too. Next up is Explosive Fury. MOZE and Iron Bear gain increased status effect damage and status effect chance. This goes up to 27% when you max it out with a bonus 15% status effect damage. So just like it says, the more fire damage you're doing, the better off you're going to be. And this works, actually this works with all status effect chances as well. So shock, radiation, all that stuff, it works in conjunction. Up next, Harmonious Havoc. MOZE gains increased gun damage for each weapon, shield, and grenade that matches the element of her gun. Now I've messed around with this and you can get some pretty good damage out of it, but honestly for 5 points in this thing, I feel like MOZE is already in pretty good shape as long as Fire in the Skagden is still as strong as it is, that you don't need to really put the points in this. Up next is Double Time. Whenever MOZE's action skill is active, she and Iron Bear gain increased movement speed, and it's just like it sounds, just a bonus 12% movement speed while your action skill is up. So while Iron Cub is running around, or if you're using Iron Bear and you got it on Auto Bear for example, then you're still running around quick with MOZE. If you're in Iron Bear, then you're going to run 12% faster as well. Next up is Fired Up. Whenever MOZE or Iron Bear apply a status effect to an enemy, she gains increased fire rate for a short time. This is great for all those weapons that you like to use on MOZE, like Bloodstarved Beast, the Gargoyle, Monarch, the Light Show, the Flipper, the Beacon. All these guns are going to do so good with that skill right there. And all you have to do to get that to proc is just apply a status effect. And again, with all these skills, you're going to be doing that all the time. Up next, we got Never Gonna Give You Up. Whenever MOZE or Iron Bear applies a status effect to an enemy, Iron Bear gains fuel. The skill has diminishing returns. This works a lot like Zane's skill Good Misfortune, because as you're applying status effects, you're gaining fuel back into Iron Bear, keeping it active longer. And that's going to be important for this build, and I'll show you why here in a minute. Next up is Nitro Trinadium Engines. And I hope I said that right, because I sure as hell tried. Iron Bear gains increased maximum fuel and action skill cooldown rate, just like it sounds, just a way to cool down faster and keep your fuel maximized. Up next, we got Feature Creep. Iron Bear gains increased damage and damage resistance, just like it sounds. It's a single point thing, so 18% and 45% resistance. Up next is Limit Break. MOZE gains increased action skill cooldown rate whenever she or Iron Bear inflicts a status effect on an enemy, and this effect stacks up to 10 times. So you can get some pretty serious cooldown rate if you want to spec into this so that you get your Iron Cub back faster. Up next is Superior Firepower. Whenever MOZE or Iron Bear inflict a status effect on an enemy, they gain increased status effect damage. And again, just like that says, and this thing stacks up 5 times as well, so you can get a lot of really good status effect damage on enemies with that. And then finally, the capstone is Running on Fumes. Whenever MOZE or Iron Bear ignites an enemy, Iron Bear does not consume fuel for a short time, and the duration on this is 6 seconds. So if you catch somebody on fire, Iron Bear does not consume fuel. It doesn't sound like that's much, but think about this. You're going to be putting things on fire all the time, and the idea for this tree and the idea for this build is essentially the more you keep Iron Cub out, the more damage you're going to do. And that's a good transition into the augments. So the first augment that you can actually get in this tree is Fuel for the Fire. Whenever MOZE or Iron Cub inflicts a status effect on an enemy, Iron Cub's armor is restored. And again, that's another one that works really well in conjunction with Never Gonna Give You Up to kind of keep your Iron Cub going for as long as possible. Next up is Baby Nukes. Whenever Iron Cub is deployed or destroyed, it triggers a nuclear explosion, dealing massive radiation damage. I have yet to see any kind of massive radiation damage when I use this skill. The skill feels not optimized for Mayhem 10 in my opinion. Next up is My Little Friend. Iron Cub spawns with an incendiary Vladoff assault rifle in addition to Iron Cub's other weapons. And that sounds like it would work really well with all these other skills where you're setting things on fire and keeping your status effects going, but it just doesn't seem like it does that well. And I'm going to tell you what I prefer is actually the final one, Efficiency Engine. MOZE gains increased gun damage the longer Iron Cub has been active. So the longer Iron Cub is out, the better your bonus. And I know that gun damage just says 0.5% per second, but you're going to be able to keep Iron Cub out for a long time. So you're going to be able to stack that up really high and get some serious gun damage with that. Now, in terms of the rest of the tree that I'm rocking here, as you can see, I got points in the blue tree. We have to have points in Fire in the Skagden because it's just that good. We also got some points in Means of Destruction, so whenever I'm dealing splash damage, I'm going to regenerate some ammo. We got points in Vampire, just in case I need a little bit more healing. I can chuck a grenade at an enemy and get some healing back. We got points in Stainless Steel Bear to gain additional armor, maximum fuel, and a little bit of increased Iron Bear damage. And then we got some points in Deadline so that Iron Bear's weapons will drain less fuel, therefore keeping Iron Bear out longer, or Iron Cub out longer. We got nothing in the Shield of Retribution tree. We don't really need it. And then we capstoned out the bottomless mags so that whatever gun we are holding, we're going to basically be able to almost keep it non-stop firing. This tree is just so much fun in my opinion. So we got Cloud of Lead, we got Stoke the Embers. There's so many like good fire-based skills already in this tree. So and a lot of weapon damage bonuses as well. So, and this one, Redistribution, whenever you're scoring a critical hit, you're going to regenerate ammo and health for a few seconds. The lower our health, the more powerful the health regeneration. So if by some chance you are weak, just hit some crits, get some health regen on top of the other health regen that you're already getting from this skill here just by igniting enemies. Lots of cool skills in this tree, and you're going to increase your mag size and also keep shooting forever. Now, in terms of the additional gun that I'm using the minigun, and I switched it to the Salamander, and then I switched it to the augment where it's Molten Roar. Now, the reason I did this was because, again, Iron Cub isn't going to do a whole lot of damage for you. So the idea here is that I want Iron Cub to be constantly setting things on fire, and this is a really cool way to do this. The Salamander burst fires 3 projectiles with increased fuel drain, the first of which leaves a large incendiary incendiary area. Now I know that the increased fuel drain part sounds scary, but with the other skills, you're going to see Iron Cub can stay out for a considerable amount of time, and it's going to put out a big incendiary puddle to keep enemies hit with status effect. Now if you get scared by that one, you can swap over to just Salamander, and this is going to give Iron Bear movement speed or Iron Cub movement speed after damaging an enemy, and this will be another way for you to constantly keep applying fire to enemies as well if you'd like to do that. All right, so let's go ahead and show it off. The guns that we're using, I'm going to show you everything here. I'm using a prompt critical. I've got on the Blood-Starved Beast. I've got a gargoyle in case we encounter anything that has an armor bar. And one of my favorite weapons to use right now with this build, believe it or not, is the Hellwalker. This thing is just ridiculous. I love this gun so much. Now, one of the really cool things that Gearbox snuck in on us in DLC 4 was this class mod for MOZE, the Investing Flare, or it's just the Flare class mod. This one, you gain up to 100% damage while Iron Bear is active, and that decreases as Iron Bear spends fuel. And what's cool about this is before we had this new skill tree, Iron Bear being active meant that you were in Iron Bear, so this was only really working while you were in Iron Bear shooting enemies. Now it'll work while you have Iron Cub out, so this allows MOZE and Iron Bear to actually do more damage with this. We're using the Old God with fire resistance, which also gives us a bonus 20% incendiary damage. This also gives us some movement speed while the shields are full, and movement speed while it's depleted, and on action skill in we get shock damage for 10 seconds. I'm using a recurring hex. Now I know a lot of people are going to probably be like, hex, dude, what? That's not really what MOZE uses. Well, for mobbing, this thing is great. If you're going single targets, then sure, throw in a cloning maddening tracker or a spring epicenter if you've got one. I've got a vindicator gassed call as well, but I'm going to use the hex. I'm going to show you all about it. Now the hex also works really well with the Pearl of Ineffable Knowledge to keep your stacks of the pearl built up, and this pearl also has mag size and fire rate on it as well. All right, so let's go out here and show you what this thing can do. All right, we'll get Iron Cub out into the battlefield, and as you can see, we're just absolutely melting everything. It's so good. It's so good, guys. You know, I was really fond of my MOZE build, but I feel like I found a new baby, dude, and this is varied quite a bit from that build, honestly. But it's so much fun, man. You feel like I'm an absolute badass with this build, the way I've got it set up. And again, you guys are probably going to hear people today talking about how weak Iron Cub is. And I say, don't worry about Iron Cub. Iron Cub is good just to hang out and help keep your damage up. Because look at that. The fuel drain right now is barely down. So we're still doing massive amounts of damage with the flare and with our anointment. Or I'm sorry, not our anointment, but our augment. On that tree. Whoops, there it is. Efficiency engine. And again, we've got so many stacks built up on this thing, plus the Pearl of Ineffable Knowledge. Dude, this is so much. It's so much fun right now. Let's throw on the Hellwalker so you guys can see. The Hellwalker is ridiculous with this build. We're hitting even just like wimpy shots, we're like body shots, we're hitting for 1,000,000 damage. All right, this guy's he was shielded. We went through the shield and took out all of his health. Let's move into the next area. As you can see, the Iron Bear's drain is starting to come down. It's below half now, so our gun damage will fade away a smidge here, but you're going to see it's not going to matter that much. It's still going to be really good. So boom, 9 million with a headshot there from that. And yeah, guys, you can use any guns you want with this. Now, something with better fire rate is going to be more ideal because you're going to heal better off of that, just so you know. As opposed to the Hellwalker. The Hellwalker is just fun to use, but you're not going to heal very well off of the Hellwalker, so keep that in mind. And just always be chucking out your hex grenades or whatever grenade you got going, so you get a little bit more healing off of that. You can actually heal off the hex a little bit. It's not the greatest healing, but I'm going to show you here. So yeah, as you can see, you get a little bit of healing just by hitting somebody directly with that. Oh crap, I just killed myself. But yeah, guys, that's the build. This thing is a lot of fun in its current state. I just killed myself with a grenade in the water there. But dudes, I love this build. I've enjoyed every single one of the new skill trees, and the cool thing about them is they give you more build variation over what we already had. And even better is the fact that you don't have to have these skill trees. So don't feel like, if money's tight or anything like that, don't feel like you gotta go and get these things right now. It just gives you some more options to vary up your build. And again, the MOZE 5.0 build, if you guys have been using that, then you know it's awesome. You know that the Nuclear Winter Zane's great. You know the Destroyer of Worlds Flak is amazing. You know that the Face Cast Amara is great. But these new skill trees give us some other options for other ways to play the characters that we love, and that's what it's all about. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you hit that like button, hit subscribe, tap the bell icon to be notified anytime I post a new video. If you'd like to, come watch me live over at twitch.tv/killer6. I usually am playing Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to about 1 p.m. So if you want to, come check me out over there. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Have a great day.